What is that? What is that? What is it?
They're eating her. Well, that wouldn't do at all.
Oh, no, not the beast!
And then they're going to eat me.
This isn't plans 1 through 8 from outer space.
Not the beast!
This is plan 9.
Oh, hi, Mark.
This is the one that worked.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa! Exterminate all man animals.
I'll have my revenge, and Deathstalker too.
I don't think you're pretty anymore.
Should we tell everyone about our awesome game idea that we came up with this week in Christmas movies?
I think everyone needs to play it this holiday season.
Everyone needs to play it. Here's what you do. It's called Christmas Movie Pitch Meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch a trailer for a Hallmark, a Freeform, ABC Family, or whatever the channel is, Christmas movie, you have to guess what movie plus Christmas equals that trailer or that movie.
So give us an example.
For example, Freaky Friday plus a Christmas equals a Christmas Switch.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, go watch the trailer and you will say, oh, snap. This is the same
Spot
movie.
on.
This is Freaky Friday at Christmas
At
time.
Christmas time. It's a super fun game.
It is a super fun game. You got to see how many you can come up with. So far, we're at 4.
I think 4. Yeah, 4.
We're at 4. We won't tell you which ones, but let's see how many you guys can come up with. Maybe there are probably people out there who've watched way more of these Christmas type movies than we have.
I think winner gets a bad movie date night sticker.
Yeah.
If you post on our Instagram, we will vote between me and Nigel which one is the best Christmas plus other movie, and we will send you a bad movie date night sticker.
But it has to be like a real
movie.
a real
movie. Yeah.
That we should clarify. You're not making this up yourself. Like
you're
this is
picking a Hallmark movie and determining, or any other sort of Christmas movie that already exists, and you're determining what movie plus Christmas equals that movie.
Because I'm sure that happens a lot where people go into pitch meetings and they're like, it's like Terminator meets Aliens meets Furbies.
Back to the Future.
Or
okay.
Back to the Future. And then there's some movie executive who says, oh, yeah, let's make that movie. And then it comes out and you say, what were the Italians smoking? Welcome to Bad Movie Date Night, the podcast in which we take a serious look at bad films and genre films, and hopefully we give them the credit that they deserve. I am Nigel from ajourneyintofilm.com, and with me is my wonderful wife, Kaitlyn.
Hi.
I was trying to
pause there.
I was trying to think of like a Christmassy adjective, and then I was like, oh, I guess wonderful works all year round.
True.
We are in week 2 of our December Christmas time movies.
Mm-hmm.
We do this every year. And this week, we are discussing the 2014 made-for-TV movie, Naughty and Nice, starring Haylie Duff, the sister of Hilary Duff, for those of you who are unaware, Tilky Jones. That's a fun name. Don't know who came up with that.
No.
Maureen McCormick, who we've talked about on this podcast before.
You may know her as Marsha Brady.
Marsha Brady, which I'm probably just going to refer to her as Marsha Brady.
She was basically adult Marsha Brady.
Yeah. Eric Petersen, Tyler Jacob Moore, Jim O'Hare, and Terrence T.C. Carson.
Man, Jim O'Hare was not in this movie enough.
No, but I was shocked that we managed to find a second Christmas movie with him in it after we saw that he was in the preview for that one.
I know. We should watch all Jim O'Heir Christmas movies.
That'd be fun. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do that next year. See if we can find 4 more.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Yeah. We almost did a compare and contrast of 2 other movies. In one of them, the girl wishes a mannequin to become her perfect Christmas boyfriend.
Interesting choice.
And in the other one, a girl wishes her snowman into the perfect Christmas boyfriend.
Also interesting choice.
Plot twist from both movies, the true love was the best friends that they had all along.
What?
Kaitlyn, why do you feel like these movies, at least like the trailers, spoil the plot of the movie?
I know. I
in
feel
the
like
trailer?
we've watched so many Christmas movies by just simply the trailer. I don't know why would they ruin it? You want to keep it a mystery.
Yeah, and how would you see specifically this movie, the end of this movie, and think, oh yeah, there's probably so much that I'm missing out on.
Right. They really do themselves a disservice by showing the whole movie.
Yeah, Mar Vista Entertainment.
Come on, get your trailer people working better.
Yeah, get this together. I mean, I know that they're gonna get together in the end.
Right. But you
But, like-
want to pretend like we don't know.
Yeah, pretend like it might not happen.
Right. Keep us interested.
Keep us interested. Kaitlyn, give us a tweet summary of this movie.
Small town snowy girl meets big city boy. They join a radio show together, solving the world's love problems and find love along the way.
I'm gonna take that clip of you saying that and just cut out the radio part and just say just cut the parts where you say small town girl meets big town boy or whatever you said.
Yeah.
And then skip to and they
They
find
find
love
love.
along the way. And I'm just gonna use that for the next like 4
Right.
movies that we watch.
Because that's a staple for a Christmas movie.
It is a staple for a Christmas movie. I feel bad when we watch these movies because after the second one, which we're on, my cynicism increases tenfold because these movies are stupid.
Well, they're not great.
They are not, and it is difficult for us to give them more credit. Well, I mean, I guess like we know what we're getting into with these.
Mm-hmm.
It's just difficult to try and argue that they're better than they are, if that makes sense.
Right, because they are not better than they are. That's
Yeah.
just a fact.
You know, we watch a movie like what's a movie that we haven't talked about on the podcast before? You know, we put in like Rest in Pieces or something, and we're like, oh yeah. I get that people think that this is a bad movie, but here, like, we can defend why we don't think that it's bad.
Right. But these Christmas movies sure give us a run for our money.
It is difficult to defend them
It really is.
and to find things that we like about them. For example, this movie, I feel like there was no build up in their relationship.
Well, there was no chemistry in their relationship.
There was no chemistry in their relationship, and I feel like there was no chemistry in the actors.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I did not believe these people were in love. I thought brother and sister, perhaps.
There was kind of like a weird incesty brother-sister vibe going on.
Mm-hmm.
But like without the incest.
Right.
It was just kind of like, hey, we're best friends.
Right.
And we helped each other be better.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out the ring at the end, and you're like, wait a minute. You went from A to Z very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like within weeks, hours, arguably. The other thing that was concerning about this movie, time did not make sense.
No.
There was no idea of time.
Mm-hmm.
Very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, you recently had a conversation with someone about how time is really just exists because of events.
Yeah.
And that movie definitely proved your theory because there were no events in this film.
Yeah.
It was just like a thing happened and I guess time moved forward, but it didn't really seem like time moved forward because the day was still going. So it's just very disorienting.
Yeah, like in one scene it's light, one scene it's dark. They say that the radio show is in the morning, but then she's doing an afternoon broadcast.
Right.
But then you're like, so did she do 2 broadcasts today or did she just do the one?
Right. And they have so much time in the morning before the broadcast. So
But then, like, she was doing Christmas at her mom's house. So how did she have time to do the broadcast if she was doing Christmas?
right.
I don't know. It's like the writer had lots of really good Christmas ideas and then didn't know how to connect them all together.
Yes.
Also, I never really bought that oh crap, what's his name? Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
So the radio jock or DJ from Los
LA.
Angeles, yeah, Pepper Sterling,
Big city Pepper Sterling.
He's supposed to
meets
be
small
like
town girl.
this bad boy of radio.
Mm-hmm.
Gets punished for it, which like okay, you got what you paid for, but I mean, you know, like, why are you punishing him? Like, that's what you hired him to do. But,
right.
You know, I never really bought that he was, like, some kind of jerk, like, terrible person.
He seemed aloof and kind of self-entitled, privileged,
I mean, he definitely seemed
self-centered
like
individual.
He definitely seemed like a big city kind of looking down on small town person.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got jerk vibes from him.
I mean, I got it's kind of like what we were talking about when we were watching some of these other trailers, where so much of this movie is like, oh, this guy who is a jerk just made a bad first impression, but really he's got like a heart of gold if you just let the right person in.
Right.
And that's kind of like what I got with him was like it's not like he was like rude or anything.
I mean, he was just very selfish and entitled, I felt. And I felt like he was... I mean, I didn't like him throughout the whole movie. I didn't really feel like his personality was great. But yeah, they definitely try to make it seem like, oh, he was just hurt from love in the past, so he has his guard up. And it's like, that's fine to have your guard up. I get it. But that doesn't mean you get to be a jerk to everyone you meet. You should still be a nice person.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't feel like anyone in this movie really had a personality. Like I get that he's supposed to be like the jerk because the movie tells me he is.
Right. He's a generic jerk.
Yeah, but like it's not like he really was a jerk, if that makes sense. It's like he was just more aloof than he was like mean.
Aloof is a good word.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on him. But if you want to talk about who doesn't have a personality in this movie, the boss, the manager of the
a mannequin.
Yeah.
Or a robot or something.
He is the mannequin that came to life from the other Christmas movie. So Pepper gets in trouble for something. He like makes fun of a advertiser for the radio, or like
he basically calls out an advertiser for having an affair.
Yeah, on the radio. And the radio station's like, how dare you? We're suspending you, so go to this small town in Colorado. Fun
Seems
fact
like
about
an
that.
Interesting suspension. Uproot your whole life and move to this.
Yeah, go keep working, but somewhere else. But it's technically still for us.
Right.
Fun fact about the town in this movie. This movie was shot in Idlewild, California, but it takes place in the fictional town of Idlewild, Colorado.
That's why there was no snow there.
Yeah, that's the only fun fact I have for you.
Oh, goody.
He gets to this small town, and the radio station manager, Cole, played by Tyler Jacob Moore, he just has no personality.
None.
He's just a generic nice guy, but like not in like a endearing sort of way.
No.
I don't even know how to describe how. Like, imagine if a mannequin came to life and they were just friendly.
Yeah. I don't know how to describe his personality at all. It was kind of like disturbing how plain he was.
He was like one step away from serial killer generic territory.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, he had some secrets.
Yes, for sure.
There's definitely a sequel to this movie out here where he goes to Austin and starts killing people.
I would not doubt it. It was wild.
That would have been a more interesting movie than this, and it would make this movie more interesting also, because the whole time you're just like, he's going to kill people in the next movie. Like, I think people should watch this movie just for Cole. yeah.
Just to try to understand him. That's all.
Yeah. But also, you know who was really fun in this? Eric Petersen.
Yeah.
I appreciated seeing him. He is, I mean, I don't know how well known the show was because apparently not many people knew about it, but he plays Kevin in the new TV show, Kevin Can F Himself.
Great show.
Yeah, great show. Worth checking out.
Has the girl from Schitt's Creek in it, if
Yeah.
anyone's a
Annie something in her last name.
She's great.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Definitely recommend seeing Annie Murphy. I knew that it was a simple last name.
But yes, he would have very much like a goofball personality.
Yeah, he kind of looks like the guy. Like, he's the guy that you look at him and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to put him in this as like the goofball type.
Right.
I feel bad for him because that's what he looks like, but
He does it well.
he makes it work.
Yeah.
Kaitlyn, overall, would you say that you liked this movie or you disliked this movie?
I would say it wasn't like, I feel like it was just a movie that I watched. Did I enjoy watching it? No. Was there anything enjoyable about this movie to me? No. But was it the worst movie I ever sat through? No.
You're gonna hold on to The Visitor as the worst movie that you sat there.
That was
aren't you?
the first
Okay.
movie I thought of.
I will change your mind on that movie.
We will see.
This movie became increasingly difficult to watch as it progressed for me.
It felt very long.
It did, and
I
it
was
was
like,
less than
when-
an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh. I was like, when is this movie possibly going to be over?
I don't know.
But it kept going.
And there were things that like you thought were gonna come back, but then they didn't.
It
Like
wasn't
the-
really a
the-
well thought out movie.
Like the peanut in his
Right.
pocket.
I'm
You had a really great idea
It
for that.
was a good idea. Why would you not do that? Basically, he fills this girl's office with packing peanuts because she gives him dating or love advice or life advice, whatever you want to call it. And he goes, "What do I owe ya?" And she's like, "You can't afford me." So she makes a joke that he owes her snow. So he fills her office with packing peanuts. And they have a little flirtation in her office with all the snow and packing peanuts. And he sticks one that he pulls out of her hair in his jacket pocket. And you think, and like it zooms in on it. It zooms in on him putting it in his jacket pocket.
Everything about the way that scene was shot made it seem like that packing peanut was going to come back and it was going to be important.
And it doesn't, even though he wears that jacket in a future scene. Still doesn't come back.
Yeah.
What a missed opportunity there.
For
At least
sure.
be semi-clever movie.
Yeah. I don't know what they were fighting about either.
I told you she was mad because he didn't tell her that he got his old job back at his old movie theater and promised
At
her
his old movie theater?
I don't know. Why I
Where
said
does he
that.
work?
I don't know. At his old radio station. And he promised her a Christmas company party that he would take her to as a date, but then didn't because it didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I guess lying to her?
I mean, he only lied to her about the party. It's
Right.
not like he lied about the job.
Right.
It actually seemed like he was about to tell her everything,
It was, yes.
and then she got mad at him for not telling her fast enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And then it's as if he lashed out and felt the need to defend his job because she was mad.
Right.
So it's like she gets mad
He gets defensive.
and then they're both mad.
Yep. Then they break up.
Yeah.
Basically, the movie said, we need conflict. Here is pretend conflict.
Yeah. So there was a lot of things that I feel like they wanted to be set up as conflict for the couple. Like the station manager kind of boyfriend. Like
Yeah, I
they
was
made it,
very confused by that relationship.
they made it seem like they were dating Sandy, Haylie Duff, and the station manager Cole, but then they weren't dating. He wasn't
At least not
upset that they were
exclusively,
flirting.
I guess. Maybe they weren't exclusive.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he would
then
like
he
buy her lunch and like they would kiss on the cheeks all the time.
Yeah, or go out to dinner.
Right.
But then he didn't seem upset that she was flirting with Pepper.
Right.
I mean, maybe his like nice guy sort of way of getting back at her in like a passive aggressive sort of way was doing something to get Pepper sent back to LA, but that didn't really seem to be anything that he had control over.
It was like a nice guy thing though. He's like, I'm gonna send this guy back to his normal job.
Yeah. His 6-figure salary.
Right.
Which like I said this to you last night, but like that could literally mean anything.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Like, is he making $100,000 a year? Like, is he able to afford his LA mansion with
I know
that?
he has this giant house that you never see the inside to.
Also, this movie came out in 2014, and they act like radio DJs or like radio
We're the
talk people.
stuff.
Yeah, they act like they are the coolest people in the entire world.
Right.
Like, podcasts were definitely a thing and very popular in 2014.
Right. But that didn't work for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, are there radio personalities that are making 6 figures?
Oh, yeah. I bet Elvis Duran from Elvis Duran and the Morning Show, I bet you he's making 6 figures. He's like one of the biggest radio DJs out there. And he's been on it for a year, so he has to be making quite a bit.
According to Google, the average radio personality salary is anywhere from $23K to $78K per year.
You should Google Elvis.
In Ohio.
Ah.
The median for the United States is $45,000.
You should Google Elvis Duran net worth.
Okay. Well, net worth is a little different than...
I know, but I don't know if it'll tell you his salary. You can try.
Elvis Duran salary. He gets $6 million per year.
That makes sense.
But he works for iHeart
Right, iHeartRadio.
Radio. So,
I told you he's a bigwig.
okay. Well, I mean, I guess it's possible, but like I don't know. That's mind-boggling to me. His net worth is $20 million in case you are
Wow.
curious. Anyway, that just seemed a little unbelievable for this movie.
I don't know. Maybe he's the equivalent of Elvis Duran.
Maybe, but his show seemed very boring.
Yeah, and like it didn't seem like a big studio, really.
Yeah, it did not.
So-
They did not do a good job of making this radio station seem big and impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So I
I guess
don't
the
know.
other conflict was Pepper and his college girlfriend that he was on a radio show with in college, who is his current co-host, who I guess he still has feelings for, or did have feelings for in a kind of sort of way.
The only time I thought that maybe he had feelings for her was when he offered the basketball tickets to her.
Right.
At
That
the
was it.
very beginning of the movie.
Same.
And then
But then, like, Sandy makes a throwaway comment about, like, oh, is that your makeout buddy? And then I was like,
at what point in this movie did you talk about them making out with each other?
right,
He never talked about making out with her.
right. That's why this movie really has problems with time, because maybe that was a conversation they had at some point. I don't know.
There are massive gaps in time in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Massive gaps with plot that arguably may have been more interesting than the rest of what the movie was showing.
For sure.
What did you think? Well, let's talk Maureen McCormick for a second. Marsha Brady. Maureen McCormick is one of those individuals that spent, some formative, important years of her life working on one of the best sitcoms of all time.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know where it really...
It's a popular sitcom.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's well known as popular. I guess I just didn't know where it fell on the ranking of all-time sitcoms. She acts in this movie as if she's still playing Marsha Brady in
Yep.
the Brady Bunch.
She was grown-up Marsha.
Yeah. More like this movie could have been, here's what happens to Marsha Brady after the Brady Bunch.
Definitely.
She shows up, she's like, I'm a rough, tough woman, and then like spends the rest of the movie crying because her husband died 8 months ago.
Which, I mean, reasonable thing to cry about.
Reasonable thing. I'm not saying it's unreasonable to cry about.
Right.
But did this movie need a recently dead father on top of maybe there's a second love interest in the station manager? Maybe Pepper is conflicted about going back to this job.
Do they need a reason for her to be in this town? I feel like she could have just grown up there and stayed there. I don't know why she had to like move back for her dying dad, and then her dad dies and she stays there to be with her mom. I didn't really get that.
It didn't seem necessary for her to actually be a licensed doctoral psychologist.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I mean, how many relationship-related shows are the host's actual doctors?
Right.
I mean, I don't think Dr. Phil is a doctor.
No.
I mean, maybe he is. I don't know. I just kind of always assumed he wasn't.
I
Dr.
doubt it.
Oz, I don't feel like he's an actual doctor. He's a doctor of stealing your money.
Yeah, she wasn't even great at her job, so they definitely could have left her being a real doctor
Yeah.
out.
There were so many times where she would throw out advice and then say, all right, next caller. And I'm like, you didn't finish that guy's advice.
No.
You just left it that he's going to get his wife snow tires.
Right. She said she would send him a jewelry catalog, even though she never got his address.
Well, I think that's Jonah's job, the call screener. So he would get all that information. I think that's standard practices. I don't know. You have hiccups now, don't you? This is the best time for you to have hiccups. We'll try to make sure that that's not a huge problem. Or any problem. So yeah, Maureen McCormick, just kind of weird. And then kind of going off of the whole conflict thing, I never got the feeling that Pepper was really all that conflicted about going back to his radio show. I mean, it was clear that he didn't really want to.
Yeah.
But the scene almost immediately after after Sandy goes back to Idlewild is him pitching this new show to his manager.
Yeah, like I'm pretty certain he didn't want to go back at all. And I think even if he did want to go back, he would want to do the radio show with Sandy, but in LA. Like I got no vibes that he was like missing his old show at all.
Yeah, it felt like from the moment he quote fell in love with her, like nothing else really mattered, and it didn't show that he was conflicted with any of that.
Not at all.
Yeah. But
maybe if they put in a montage of him working with his co-host Spice and like, you know, getting Chinese food late at night while they work on notes for their radio show and laughing with each other.
Some kind of build up to the Christmas show.
Right.
Not just him sitting there clearly not wanting to be there or doing his job.
Right.
You know what else was a really weird moment of trying to insert conflict into this movie? The fact that the truck he had to drive from her mom's house to the radio station at the end was a manual.
Right. That was, waste of time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he can't drive stick shift, so it's going to take him longer to get there because he keeps stalling.
Right. But, like, it...
Okay, but we have no idea what time is anyway. I didn't know she was in a rush.
Yeah, we didn't know what is time. Time in this movie is relevant. Because then he gets there.
In plenty of time.
Yeah, listening to the end of the show. Jonah comes out, sees him, tells him that Sandy's still in love with him. And then somehow between that moment and 3 minutes later, he sets up like this whole display in the town where they hold up Merry Christmas letters that switch to Marry Me.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure the writer of this movie
thought that was the cleverest thing.
Thought that was so clever and based this entire movie around that one moment.
I would definitely believe that.
He said, oh my gosh, how did I not realize you can use the letters in Merry Christmas to say marry me?
Yeah, I don't know where how did he get a hold of all of her viewers? Or did he just find passerbys walking down the street and he was like,
I don't know.
Hey, come do this thing for me.
Were they her fans who were there who wanted to see her at the end of her last show? And they said, hey, help me? And then,
none of these questions can be answered.
Where did he get the letters? Because they were clearly the letters from earlier in the movie at the Christmas display. Mm-hmm. So, did he run halfway across town, steal the letters, come back, find however many people are in Merry Christmas, and tell them what the plan was?
Questions cannot be answered.
Did he know that he was going to ask her to marry him before he went back to Idlewild?
And that seems like a big
in that
jump.
moment? Yeah. They went from falling in love. I don't even think you see them kiss. I mean...
Yeah, remember that very abrupt kiss at Christmas-ish time?
Yeah. What was that one moment that I said was very... They shot it in a way that was very climactic, but nothing really happened? Where zoomed in on him real quick?
That's when he kissed her.
That was when he kissed her? Oh, yeah. There was no build-up. There was
It was just kind of what just happened? Whoa.
The sexual tension in this movie was non-existent.
Yep.
It was very much like brother and sister.
Yes.
Hey, I respect you and your boundaries as a person.
Right.
And those are going to reflect in my acting as this character, as I'm playing myself instead of trying to play this character.
Yeah, that is accurate. For sure.
Yeah. So it went from flirting, kissing,
marriage,
fighting, marriage.
Yeah.
Those are the milestones of their relationship.
Wow.
Here's a question that I have for you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that you meet a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that you develop an infatuation for him.
Okay.
You think it's love.
Uh-huh.
He does something to make you mad.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say pretty mad, but not so mad that you would never date him ever again. but
Okay.
still like pretty mad that it'll last a couple days.
Okay.
Do you that but you think that it's over for real?
Okay.
All right, it's not actually over, but you think it's over. And then somebody says, "Hey, move to Austin, Texas with me." Would you do that?
No. I thought that was a wild choice because I think it's one, not fair to Cole. Two, she's moving further from her mom, which seems like that's where she needs to be, is with her mom. And definitely rebound. You're just going to screw your life over doing that. That was bad choice.
It's as if she didn't really care about her radio show. She was just like,
Right.
"Oh, he asked me to move. I guess that's what I'll do."
Right.
She had no...
Even though she said that she didn't move back to Chicago because this was her practice now in Idaho.
Right.
So it
like
was
she had developed, like she was like, this is where I've set up. This
Right.
is my camp now. I'm gonna stay
but
here and
I'll
help these
move
people.
to Texas because
Yeah, I'll move to-
this guy asked me to.
And my heart's broken?
Right.
Question mark.
So definitely bad psychiatrist. She should take better life advice from someone else.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not even like Pepper stayed in the town. Like I would get like if you want to leave because he's still there, but
Right.
he left.
Right.
He went back to California.
Right. She was like, but I can't look at his mic every day because that's where he used to be. And it's like, yeah, you're also living in the same town that you grew up with your dad, and he died. And that doesn't bring back bad memories.
Right. And
versus
why are
this
you
guy that you knew for like a month.
And why are you leaving his mic set up? Because that mic definitely wasn't there
Right.
when we first introduce you and see you sitting at your desk by
So
yourself.
seems like a simple solution.
It seems like the solution is way simpler than let me uproot my life and move to Texas.
Yeah.
Also, there really wasn't any reason for the dad to be dead for 8 months. I mean, he could have died a long time ago and gotten the same message out of that.
Or
like,
he could have still been alive.
well, I hate to use this word, but I kind of liked that the mom was like, "Hey, this guy reminds me a lot of your dad."
But why did he need to be dead? He could still remind her of his dad, of her dad.
It could, and they could have probably had like a really funny moment where the dad does something, and
Right.
then like the
Pepper does something, and then it's like, oh, they're the same person. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, but I liked that there was like that it was more emotional.
Yeah.
That it was like, hey, you know, like he reminds me of your dad. I know that you don't see it, but this is what your dad used to be like. And I liked that there was kind of that like fondness about it, and the mom was able to impart some wisdom on her via that way, and that it wasn't played as this like funny thing.
Right. And
If I had to pick one part of the movie that I liked.
right. But then I think you didn't need the side relationships. Pick one way or the other. Have the side relationships and keep the dad, or have the dad die and get rid of the side relationships.
Right. There were too many options of conflict that were happening, and it didn't
Right.
really build to anything significant.
Like she could have, like, instead of the whole moving to Austin thing, she could be like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to Chicago. My mom's doing fine. I need to get away from this, town or whatever.
But
Like-
the other thing too, let's say that the dad had died a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
She moves there to be with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Dad passes away. She does this radio show that adds more meaning to the radio show if she continued to stay there.
Right.
And it would add more to her saying that that was her practice now.
Right. I mean, I agree. I'm just saying if you needed her to move, she could have gone back to Chicago. You don't need this second relationship thing.
Right. Like Pepper could have given her the boost of confidence to like go back and
Right.
like maybe they didn't get together at all in the end. Maybe he went back and he realized that he didn't need girls to make himself feel better about himself. Like he gets over Spice and
Right.
she's like, you know what, I can really help people,
Mm-hmm.
even though her advice was terrible.
Yes,
like
her
there was
advice was not
nothing
good.
that suggested anyone should see her as a psychologist.
No.
But I mean, that's just my 2 cents. I don't make enough money to be evaluating what makes a psychologist or not. I mean, I guess if you can pass the classes, like whatever. So, those are our thoughts on.
It was definitely a Christmas movie. Like, it hit all the beats. So if you're looking for a very generic Christmas movie, check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there are several better ones out there, but if you've seen all of them and you're like, I got nothing else going on, and you just kind of want to evaluate Cole, check this movie out.
Yeah. You know what I want you to do, audience members, the few of you who follow us on Instagram? Go to the post for this movie. Tell us what your favorite Hallmark freeform Christmas movie is.
Mm-hmm.
One that you think is legitimately good and not just going through the motions, because they crank these things out like that's like it's water. Like
they really do.
There is a fountain of Christmas movies coming out, and a lot of them are bad. So I mean, just like any other movie, there are plenty of bad movies out there, which is what keeps us in business. And there are plenty of good movies, which is, what keeps people pretentious. I want to know, legitimately, what do you think are some good Christmas movies that fall into this camp? Because we want to know. We're interested.
Yeah, please hit us up. Let us know what your favorite is.
Yeah, I don't want to figuratively poop on these movies every week. Like, I want to find one that we think is really good, but you and I are so passionate about relationships and dating that it makes watching these movies very difficult.
Ugh. So hard to find dating advice in these movies.
Yeah. Speaking of that, let's hop over to Kaitlyn's dating corner.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, dating advice. You kind of hit on it a little bit earlier for what I had planned for this movie. Because my dating advice was, don't look to a relationship to help you get over anything in life or grow in life or anything like that. You should really find that within yourself and within those people that you choose to surround yourself with. But if you're looking for a relationship to fulfill you or to keep you happy, then you will be sorely disappointed, my friend.
Exactly. Happiness comes from within.
That's right. I got some questions for you, though.
I also just want to throw this out there real quick.
Okay.
There's no need to be happy all the time.
Well,
If we're pursuing happiness 24/7, then you're chasing a fantasy.
Yes, for certain.
Just like the relationships in these Christmas movies. Boom.
All right. You ready for these? All right. First question. How long do you think it takes to truly fall in love with someone? I'm not talking about infatuation. Infatuation is very different. For those of you who don't know, when you're infatuated with somebody, you get all of the dopamine rushes, you get the head over heels, butterflies in your stomach. I never want to leave this person. I never want to stop talking to them. You get all of those mushy, gushy feelings. That's infatuation. Love is a commitment and something that you choose to do and to give to another person, not a feeling by any means. So how long do you think it takes to actually fall in love with someone?
I'm really glad that you told me this question last night.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been thinking about it since then.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not come up with an answer. Because, you have people like us who dated for 8 years before we got married. I mean, I think we fell in love at some point, hopefully during those 8 years. But then I know other people who got married within 3 years who have a relationship that is, I mean, arguably just as strong as us. And I don't want to say that marriage is like the defining moment of falling in love with someone, but
Right.
I use that as evidence of how quickly relationships can move, and I hate to give like kind of cop-out answer. I know that it would be funnier if I said like, about a month, because it really just depends on the person. Like I think that there are some people who are just more capable of love quicker than other people.
So, fun fact, I learned this in my psychology class. Your dopamine feelings, that the chemical that is responsible for producing that butterflies in your stomach feeling,
Mm-hmm.
once you enter a relationship, it lasts minimum 6 months to a year.
Wow.
So I say you can't actually be in love with someone until after a year, because that's when the chemical is gone. And so that's when you really kind of get like a true I don't want to say feeling. You get the true part of the relationship without the chemical being present. So I say, don't tell somebody you love them unless you've been dating for a year, because you can have feelings for them and you can tell them, oh, I really like you. You know, you give me butterflies, but you don't truly love them until that chemical is gone, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fun fact for the listeners, Kaitlyn actually has a degree in psychology.
So I
So
kind
it's
of know what I'm
like-
talking about.
So it's kind of like we have our own little Sandy in the studio with us.
Hopefully I get better advice than Sandy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think that you do. You know, she cuts so many people off, and I
Yeah.
bet I'm like, do they have follow-up questions for
Right?
her? You know, don't just tell someone to do something and then say that, okay, we're done.
Well,
we're moving on
I
to
mean,
the next caller.
maybe she actually goes to them like she did with that young caller.
That was weird, and they never addressed that
No.
ever again.
No, they certainly did not.
So this high school kid calls into the show, says, I want to ask this girl out. And she says, hey, go do a big display. Girls don't believe in leagues, because this kid's like, oh, she's like way better than me, like whatever. And she's like, go make a big show of it, ask her out. Women like grand gestures, and they don't care about leagues, which isn't true, especially in high school. But, I mean, it's a movie, so they can do whatever they want. And Pepper is like, don't bother.
Right.
That's-
He's like, save your money, go buy an Xbox.
Right. The next thing that we see is she's with this boy, helping him dress up as Santa Claus to ask the girl out.
Yeah.
Now, kudos. Really appreciated how he asked this girl to the dance.
Pretty cute.
Yeah, like, 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10. Good for him. Do something about those snaggle teeth. But, I mean, everything else, like, fine. And it worked out for him.
Yeah.
Never addressed
No.
how she said, technically I shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
It's like, well, I mean, you're more of like a radio show
Right.
host than you are like a psychologist, but still, like, we're not going to talk about how she got involved with this kid.
No, where she found him.
Where did she find him? Does she have a habit of getting involved in the lives of the people who call into her show?
Right.
These are things that the movie should have addressed.
Right.
Maybe she has a busybody problem.
Right.
That could have been another conflict to explore, but the movie was so focused on doing nothing that we didn't get the chance to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a very interesting choice they made.
Yeah. So, sorry to derail your corner. But,
No, that's all I had.
Oh, it's like, I thought
Yeah.
you asked me another question last
Well,
time.
I feel like you kind of answered this one too. How quickly would you ask a girl to marry you?
I thought it was move to a different state.
Oh, that's right. Move to a different state. That's right. That's right. How long would you have to be in a relationship to pick up and move to another state?
I'll tell you what, it would
your
be
significant
a long time. I probably wouldn't do it until I was married.
I 100% agree. I am way too terrified of like picking up my life, moving to another, state, country, whatever, with somebody that I'm not married to. And then what if the relationship doesn't work out? Now you're in this new city.
All by
and
yourself.
All by yourself. You don't have that person.
You lost your only connection.
That would be horrible. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely marry. And I'm not saying like if you just because you're married, if you move, but the chances of, your relationship working out are a little bit higher.
Yeah. And
You have a little bit more hoops you have to jump through to remove that person from your life.
yeah, a little asterisk I'll throw on there just to give people a little hope and say that we're naysayers. If you're a very extroverted person and adventurous and, maybe.
Right.
do it.
Maybe, yeah. Like maybe if you're like, I've always wanted to move to Louisiana.
And now I have the chance.
And now I have the chance. Then, hey, go for it. But do it. I think that's the biggest key is do it because you want to do it and you're not doing it for the other person in the relationship.
Not because someone is nicing you into doing it.
Right.
Yeah. So that being said, this movie, I feel like not great.
No.
The IMDb score is 6.4, which I think is way too high for this movie.
Way too high.
There are too many people out there who are buying into the hype of these movies, and stop it.
Right.
Uh,
This is not how love or life works.
yeah, but you know what? We are not one to tell you what you can and can't watch. Because we talk about some pretty terrible movies on here that I'm sure other people, that we love. And I'm sure other people are like, you're dumb. And it would go against the motto that we close every episode with. One thing I did want to talk about that I think is really interesting, super quick, because I know that we're wrapping up on our time. This movie is directed by Sam Irvin, who is known for directing such classics as 1994's Oblivion, which is about an Old West planet where people are, fighting and stuff on there. He did... Well, I'll talk about that movie in a second. He also directed the Elvira sequel, Elvira's Haunted Hills.
Okay.
We should watch that. I meant to say Oblivion is on the 12 Nights of Elvira. So like he's done some pretty schlocky movies that would be perfect on our podcast. One of these I think sounds very interesting, called Kiss of a Stranger. After declaring that all handsome men in LA are gay, Nova falls for a sexy stranger who shortly disappears without a trace, leaving her pregnant. When her friends start dying of unexplained causes, she searches for the truth. Lot going on in that one.
Yeah.
And it sounds bonkers. He also did a lot of Christmas movies, which this is what I thought was interesting and wanted to talk about, but I think it's fascinating that so many of these movies that so many of these directors that make these schlocky, trashy B movies that we love also go on to direct like made-for-TV Christmas movies.
Yeah.
I just think that's wild.
It's a very interesting genre jump.
Yeah, maybe we should have talked about some David Dakota Christmas movies this year.
We should definitely do that in the upcoming years.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get there eventually.
I think we need to start doing Christmas in July because we have so many Christmas movies to discuss.
But I can only handle them once a year. Anyways, Kaitlyn, do you have anything that you want to throw out there before we wrap up?
Hey, check out this movie and tell me what you think about Cole. Also, don't forget to play our Christmas plus this movie, Christmas plus this already made movie equals this already made Christmas film. And best winner will get a Bad Movie Date Night sticker. So be sure to post.
Yeah, we really need to come up with a better way to describe the rules of that game. But thank you for listening. As always, we're going to encourage you, our audience, to hit that subscribe button in Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Journey Into Film. And if you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/journeyintofilm or head over to TeePublic and check out some sweet merch, like some t-shirts. We got our Is This a Secret Masterpiece t-shirt. We got our Krampus Christmas Time t-shirt. We also got our Santa Claus Christmas Time t-shirt. Those are pretty cool. And links for those are available in the show notes. And as always, never let anyone tell you that a film you enjoy is bad because they're probably wrong.
I wish you a Merry Christmas.